Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 13 of our English 3010 online class. Man, we are definitely charging towards the finish line. This week, we have our writing showcase, and you guys are working on drafting and giving each other feedback on your introductions for your research proposals. So those are the two main things that I want to cover in this week's video. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about the writing showcase in more detail to help you guys know what's going to be expected of you on Friday. And then I want to talk about your intros, and I want to take a minute to look through one of our student samples to talk through what I'll be expecting when I read them. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to our Canvas view and we'll get started. Okay, so when we look at our week 13 activities page, right off the bat, watch the week 13 video, which you're already doing. Air 5, everybody. You're awesome at this. Other things to think about for this week is that I would like you to read through the samples for the introductions. There's 3 student samples in the student sample module at the bottom of our Canvas page, and I'd like you to look at the intros for all of them. We'll look a little more closely at one at the end of this video. In terms of writing, you're going to just be composing your draft of your introduction and uploading it to the discussion forum for peer review. Once again, I have there that you need to upload it by Wednesday. I would shoot to upload it by Wednesday. If it's a couple of days late, it's okay. I just want you guys to be able to, once again, get good feedback from each other. So post that to the discussion forum and attend the writing showcase. So the cool thing about the writing showcase that's coming up on Friday is that there's 2 ways for you to participate to get your 40 points. Way number 1 is to help create and set up our booth or our table at the event. So everybody needs to be contributing at least one piece of writing and maybe something else if you feel so moved, but the requirement is 1 piece of writing for the booth. Then everyone needs to attend the event either during setup time or during the actual event. 1 hour is your requirement for the showcase. Now, as you guys saw in my announcement last week, you do get a chance to receive extra credit for staying additional hours at the showcase, but the requirement is only 1, okay? So you can attend the event by setting up, or you can attend the event by helping to present what we have set up, or you can do both for extra credit. And I'll talk at the end of our video about what our themes are for the showcase. And then the other thing to be thinking about is how constructive can you be giving feedback to your peers. So this week, we're focusing on getting that intro drafted and uploaded to your discussion thread, coming to the showcase. Once again, it's going to be in the UGL community room. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see everyone in person. So that's going to be awesome on Friday. And then by Sunday, you will have read your classmates' drafts, given them feedback. Maybe you'll even look at the sample methods and discussion sections in the student samples that are available on Canvas and make any additional revisions that you need to your intro. Nothing, as you can see, is like fixedly due on Sunday, aside from making sure that you've done your peer review. Because here, our project builder is writing the intro itself and revising it based on our friends' feedback. Okay? All right. So let me take you out to look at the student sample, and we'll just kind of look at the intro and see what we can see. So I'm scrolling all the way down to our student samples module, and I'm just going to take the first example, though there are 3 for you to look at. Now, while this is pulling up, I'm also going to take a minute to switch over to refresh our memories about the CARS model, creating a research space, CARS. This is a generalized structure for research introductions, and it consists of move number 1, establishing a territory. So this is claiming importance for this research, or making topic generalizations, or reviewing items in previous research, or some combination of those three. So you got to establish where you're at in the existing literature. Move number 2 is establishing a niche for yourself. So this consists of making a counterclaim. Are you going to disagree with somebody in the literature? Are you going to indicate a gap, something that nobody's talking about? Are you going to raise a question that hasn't been addressed or raised before? Or are you going to continue in a research tradition pushing something further that already exists? For example, if you're continuing a tradition, you might be doing similar methodology on a new population, for example. The third move is occupying that niche. So it's doing that mapping work that we practiced in Project 3A, outlining your purposes or announcing what this research project aims to do. Now, step 2 here says announcing principal findings. This is not something you need to worry about, mainly because all I'm asking you to do here is to propose the study. I'm not asking you to actually conduct the study. Here at Wayne State, since we're a Research 1 institution, that would involve going through the IRB and getting lots of approvals, and it would take way more time than we have in this class. Something you might want to do in the future, though. But we do not have any principal findings because you won't have any findings. You do, however, want to indicate the structure of this proposal. So much like we did with our mapping statement for our lit review, you want to talk about how you're going to present some literature, you're going to present methods that you'd like to investigate, and then you're going to be presenting implications for the field. So when we look back at our sample paper, one of the things you'll notice is that this introduction, first of all, is much longer than a single paragraph. This sometimes can be surprising to students, especially those of us who have been drilled to make an introduction 1 paragraph and 1 paragraph only. But as you'll see, part of the aspects of the lit review, parts of the lit review show up in the introduction. Now, this is what I was talking about last week when I was talking to you guys about revising your lit review and shrinking it down a little bit. Parts of your literature review are going to be cannibalized, for lack of a better word. They're going to be repurposed. There we go. They're going to be upcycled into your introduction. So some of the broader sweeping pieces of your lit review will probably move up into your intro, leaving some of the more detailed, focused stuff down in your actual lit review section. So a lot of people have been emailing me asking, oh my gosh, okay, my lit review is already 10 pages long. How am I going to make it fit into a 10 to 15 page proposal? This is how. Because parts of it are going to get cannibalized and other parts of it are going to shrink down. So here we see there's some citations already happening in the first paragraph and in the second paragraph. So you can see these citations here. And there's really not a lot of direct quotation going on. It's mostly really summary to talk about some of these broad sweeping areas of the argument. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is that in terms of creating a research space, this is talking about existing literature and some of the big ideas that have been already addressed. Now, there's this key word here, however. So remember we said in creating a research space that after we establish that territory, generalize the topic, and review items in previous research, like this author has done, it's time to establish a niche, to present a counterclaim or a gap. And this is a great transition word that helps to set that up. However, so if we already see in the research that several people are talking about the topic, in this instance, sexual harassment, this however word signals to the reader that you're moving into something different. You're taking a different stance. There are some employees that believe in sexual harassment myths. These myths deal with false beliefs pertaining to the motives and behaviors as well as the victims of sexual harassment. Now we're setting up a counterclaim, something that says, well, you might think that this topic has already been covered. However, actually there's a lot of myths still perpetuated. So this helps us move into the next part of our CARS, which is establishing a niche, raising a question or a counterclaim, or pointing to a gap. So this next paragraph, the author takes time to set up what this counterclaim is and why it's still needed, why this author's research proposal is still important and necessary. So then that sets up this third move, occupying the niche, outlining purposes, and giving a structure or a map for the rest of the proposal. In this research study will examine. In my research, I will look at. Now, once again, if we were going to be nitpicky, we would say, hey, let's try not to use personal pronouns because we're trying to go for a really academic tone and style. So instead of saying, in my research, I will look at, I might suggest something like, this research proposal aims to, or this research proposal will investigate. Do you see how just by removing those personal pronouns, it tends to sound a little bit more formal? So I'm going to pull back to our full view, and then we'll talk a little bit more about your intro and the showcase. Okay, so as you guys are drafting your introductions, one other thing I wanted to mention is that under that web page that I was reviewing earlier with the CARS model, there are several questions meant to guide you through your own revision process, and questions that you can ask yourself while you're doing peer review for a friend. So make sure you check that out. Those can be super helpful as you're crafting this introduction for your research proposals. All right, finally, we're getting ready to do the showcase, guys. I am so excited. It's going to be awesome. And I'm really excited because right now I'm going to let everybody know what our themes are. Now, you guys decided these themes when you guys were participating in discussion number 5 last week. And I'm super stoked because one of the coolest things that comes out for me out of the showcase is how each different section of my composition classes can come together with totally fresh takes on the course material and the experience of taking this course online. So, without further ado, I'm not going to pound on my laptop because that would just get weird. Section number 11, you guys chose discourse community as your main theme. So in that discussion, a lot of people were talking about how we've been writing for our discourse communities. We've learned about how writing can transfer beyond just the English classroom into the workplace, into your careers. So you guys chose discourse community as your main theme. Section number 17, you guys chose flexibility. That word in you guys' discussion came up so many times. I mean, I had like triple highlights on it. So flexibility is going to be your theme. You guys were talking about how you were learning to write online and for your discourse communities and adapting to all kinds of different rhetorical situations. So flexibility is section 17's theme. Section 30, you guys almost unanimously chose research as your theme. That came up so many times, and your whole class's discussion thread was like, yep, I agree. So it's pretty much unanimous. Section 30, you guys are going to focus in on reading and writing research, obviously situated within discourse communities. But I just am really excited to see how these different booths are going to turn out. Please look carefully at this week's announcement because it's going to have more specific language and more specific assignments for what you guys can bring to make these themes become a reality for the writing showcase. Okay. Whew. I think that's all I have for you today. Enjoy the sunshine, everybody, and I cannot wait to see you guys on Friday for the writing showcase. Okay, bye, everybody.